Hello, and welcome to the 5-year financial forecast for the City of Madison Heights. The purpose of this financial forecast is to provide staff, council, and public with a detailed estimate of the revenues and expenditures for the current and future 4 years to serve as a first step in the upcoming year budget process. It is also a great tool to identify financial trends, shortfalls, and issues so the city can proactively address them. The future course of the Madison Heights economy depends in part on the overall health of the state and national economy. The best single measure of the U.S. economy is inflation-adjusted gross domestic product, or GDP, which is comprised of all goods, services, and structures produced in the economy. As reported by the economists from the University of Michigan, real GDP picked up from its disappointing pace of 1.5% in 2016 to a more respectable 2.3% rate in 2017. The major factor of GDP over the next few years is federal fiscal stimulus, which will likely end up being quite substantial, adding approximately 0.8 of a percentage point to the real GDP over the next 3 years. This scale of fiscal stimulus in an economy near full employment is very unusual. One has to go back to the Johnson administration in the mid-1960s with its Great Society programs and the Vietnam Ground War funding to find similar historical episode. The economist also notes that this may be unsustainable and should be considered as we make forecast projections beyond the year 2020. Two other key economic factors are job growth and unemployment. The University of Michigan economists forecast that job growth will continue to be slower than forecasted last year. The unemployment rate for Oakland County fell to an average of just 3.5% in 2017, down from 4.2% in 2016. As indicated on this slide, unemployment rates dropped, reaching the pre-recession point. Madison Heights remains slightly higher than other unemployment indicators, but is still better than any point in the last 15 years.
So, what does the forecast look like for Madison Heights?
The forecast is stable at best, with little growth beyond inflation. The forecast reflects actuals for fiscal year 2018, estimated expenditures for fiscal year 2019, and the forecasted figures for fiscal years 20 to 2023. Fiscal year 2018 general fund revenues ended at $7.9 million, up from $7.1 million in fiscal year 2017. Of this amount, $7.26 million is considered to be spendable and available to fund operations. This increase was due directly to the amount of money carried forward into the current fiscal year. This brings the planned use of fund balance to $1.4 million and reduced our savings to $5.9 million. The 5-year financial forecast includes a baseline projection of revenues and expenditures used to evaluate the future financial condition and capacity to fund existing services and infrastructure needs. This forecast does not take into consideration changes in negotiated benefits or wages, or any changes resulting from the city's strategic plan to change and/or enhance some service offerings. This long-term financial outlook continues to identify structural challenges to the city's general fund. Specific recommendations to achieve a balanced budget for fiscal year 2020 will be presented as part of the proposed budget and will continue to attempt to address legacy costs to the city. The last 4 years of this financial forecast continues to identify structural challenges to the city's general fund. As you can see in this slide, each year of the financial forecast uses the fund balance, which means expenditures are more than revenues. By the 4th year of this forecast, our savings would be depleted to $1.1 million. The city continues to face 3 major financial challenges. These include legacy cost, or pension and retiree health care, infrastructure, which are items such as buildings and roads, and capital outlay, which are vehicles, equipment, and technology. The Police and Fire Pension Fund is only 54.5% funded, down from 58.6% in fiscal year 2017. This funding issue has not been addressed beyond making more than the actuarially required contribution. This pension plan remains open to new hires, although their benefits have been reduced through a tiered system. The funding of this liability is paid annually through the Public Act 345 millage, which for fiscal year 2019 is 7.6 mils, or 29.5% of the current overall millage rate. Pension is a major concern with employees as well as management, and solutions are being discussed during the ongoing union negotiations. Over 10 years ago, the Council approved the establishment of 2 retiree healthcare trusts, and since that time we have funded over $31.7 million. However, this pales in comparison to the amount needed, which is actuarially calculated to be $108.3 million. While this is still better than many municipalities statewide, the current funding level of 29.2% does not meet the new state requirement of 40%. Therefore, reducing this liability while also increasing this funding will be a major focus of future budget proposals. The city has eliminated retiree health care for all employees hired after 2009. Capital outlay is the second major financial challenge facing the city in the future. Deferred maintenance and replacement of all capital assets has become a serious issue citywide. This forecast includes $7.9 million during the 5-year period in capital asset replacement. These capital assets include machinery and equipment, as well as vehicles and technology. The forecast also includes $4.3 million over the 5-year period for infrastructure updates and replacements. The majority of this expense goes to address deferred maintenance at city buildings such as the police department, the active adult center, city hall, and library. Thank you for joining us for that quick overview of the general fund portion of our 5-year financial forecast. For more details or to see the forecast for major streets, local streets, and water and sewer, please click on the comprehensive report below or visit the city website at www.madison-heights.org.